Kalimantan, Indonesian Borneo, where some of the last rainforest areas on Earth can still be found. Borneo, long a byword for adventure and mystery. This giant island was the mythical home of the wild man of Borneo. In fact, this creature of popular mythology is the orangutan, a great ape, like gorillas and chimpanzees, a close relative of man. Orangutan means people of the forest in the Malay language. Found only in Sumatra and Borneo, the world's dwindling numbers of orangutan are seeing their natural homes vanish at a frightening rate. Driven by both economic necessity and unbridled greed, man is stripping these ancient forests, replacing complex, perfectly balanced ecosystems with oil palm plantations, causing disastrous changes in the environment. The once bountiful forests have become infertile grasslands, scarcely able to support even those few animals who survive. Through much of the interior, river is the only means of travel. For most, a journey into the heart of Borneo is an arduous quest for opportunity. But for a young orangutan who had once been given the name Rimba, the voyage upriver is one step in a long journey home. Rimba's adventure began as a baby, clinging to her mother as she searched for food. But on this fateful day, they were not alone in the ravaged landscape. Rimba could feel the tension building in her mother's body as the unfamiliar figures approached. Before her mother could flee, a single well-aimed shot orphans the year-old Rimba. Injured from her fall, instinctively clinging for warmth, but finding only the cold nylon jacket of her captor, Rimba is born into an alien world she would never understand. The poachers sold Rimba to the manager of a sawmill, who lost interest in his new pet after just a few weeks. Like a human war orphan, abandoned in the ruins of her home, Rimba was compelled to adapt to an unnatural life of neglect and solitude. Craving her mother's love, Rimba has only the idle curiosity of strangers. A baby's cry reflects the suffering in Rimba's own heart. At 18 months of age, when she should be drinking her mother's milk, Rimba must now survive on rice, soybean cake and cold tea. Rimba is resigned to being poked and prodded, but this is different. Rimba is rapidly and thoroughly examined, then taken from the place she had spent a third of her short life. Frightened, Rimba embarks on yet another long, strange journey to a distant destination. An unknown landscape is unfolding before her, each bend in the river revealing a new vista. Orangutan are intelligent and adaptable, eager to learn, but without her mother's guidance and comfort, these novel experiences bring only fear and confusion to the solitary infant. Rimba arrives at a holding station for the other captured rare animals awaiting shipment to black market wildlife dealers in Jakarta or overseas. Once again, Rimba becomes the object of unwanted attention. Not even while eating is Rimba left in peace. Rimba tests the strength of her cage, but even the flimsy wood is too much for the weakened infant. Life is hard and entertainment scarce in the work camps and isolated villages of upriver Kalimantan. Rimba is seen as a welcome diversion, a relief from the daily struggle to survive. Though they believe that their actions are harmless fun, the sensitive and intelligent Rimba perceives it as yet more brutality. At a local nightclub, Rimba is treated like a visiting celebrity. But Rimba is not a party animal and, in misery, must endure the noise, smoke and unwanted attention. Two years later, Rimba is at another party. She is still in a cage, but at least now the food is somewhat better. Jakarta's elite suburbs hold spacious, secluded backyards, where many adorn their lush gardens with rare and endangered wildlife. Rimba was a gift for Maya's 12th birthday 2 years before. Rimba signals to Maya that she is unhappy and wants attention. Maya feels Rimba's distress and disobeys her father's instructions to leave Rimba in her cage. As always, Rimba becomes the center of attention at the party. Now more familiar with human behavior, she takes the looks of curiosity in stride. Like a human child, she's curious and inquisitive. However, she still has much to learn about human etiquette.
Maya! Orangutan itu masukin kandang.
And the party is over for Rimba. Though the rest of the family regard it as just another symbol of prestige and financial success, Maya cares a great deal for Rimba. They have much in common. Both are at the same stage of development, standing on the brink of maturity.
Rimba.
But Maya has the whole world ahead of her. Rimba only has this cage. Though some animals seem to thrive in captivity, fed and sheltered, none can fully adapt to this unnatural situation. Orangutans, especially when young, crave mental stimulation and physical contact. For Rimba, the half-hour Sunday bath is as good as it gets, a time of comfort and bonding between these two juvenile female primates. But Rimba needs more than a suburban backyard can provide. Time passes, fortunes change. Hard times have hit Indonesia and all struggle to survive. Some do not. Rimba is now too big for her cage, but the family has neither the money nor the desire to buy a new one. As she nears adulthood, Rimba feels an intolerable urge to escape this unnatural existence. Maya also has outgrown childish things as she prepares for adulthood. First Rimba lost her mother, now she is losing her only friend. The nation is also changing, with growing awareness of environmental concerns. Strict new regulations and the will to enforce them are signs that Indonesia's threatened biodiversity may yet escape complete annihilation. Wealth and social position no longer provide immunity from the law.
Bapak punya izin untuk ini?
Saya kan belinya di pedagang, Pak.
Ya, itu akan terdapat di rumah Bapak. Jadi harus dibawa, ya. Tidak boleh tidak. Jadi harus diangkut. Oh ya, angkut.
Tapi kan nggak bisa, Pak. Nggak bisa.
Tetap diangkut. Tidak boleh, tidak boleh. Ini tetap dimiliki. Apa ikut ke kantor beli? Ini nggak bisa.
Saya bayar, boleh nggak? Saya beli.
Oh, nggak bisa. Ini beli. Bawa. Ya, ini harus. Enggak, ini harus. Enggak, tidak. Ini harus tetap dibuka. Dan ya. Enggak boleh, Ibu. Tidak apa-apa nih. Ya.
Rimba, jangan pergi.
Pak, kandangnya diturunin, Pak.
Oke, diangkat naik.
While her parents express their outrage at this confiscation of their private property, Maya realizes that Rimba never really belonged to them.
Rimba.
Amid recrimination and sorrow, Rimba finally begins her long journey home. Though on the road to freedom, Rimba must, for now, remain in a cage. Orangutans are vulnerable to the same contagious diseases that plague mankind. Rescued orangutans cannot be allowed to mix with others of their kind until they are proven free of conditions like hepatitis or tuberculosis. With over 300 orangutans, Nyaro Menteng is the largest rehabilitation facility in the world. Often physically weakened after years of captivity, denied exercise, and being given inappropriate foods, orangutans spend their months in quarantine, rebuilding their strength, endurance, and resistance to disease. After several months in quarantine, the doctors are confident that Rimba is healthy. After one last examination, in which she is fingerprinted and a sample of DNA taken for future identification, she will finally be allowed to meet her fellows. After years of unnatural solitude, Rimba now has a companion. Dia, a senior caregiver, will guide and support Rimba through the first part of the long, arduous process ahead. Rimba must now be taught how to be an orangutan again. The center is essentially a school where orphaned orangutan are taught the survival skills they would normally learn from their mothers. As in any boarding school, Rimba, the new arrival, is an object of curiosity. Though much older than the others, Rimba shares a baby's passion for milk, which she had been denied for so long during her life in human captivity. Most of the orangutan here are babies, rescued after only a few months in captivity. In all cases, the mothers are killed, usually to be eaten, and the skulls sold as antique tribal artifacts. The 300 infants in the center represent only a fraction of the orangutans captured and killed each year. If the orangutan, the people of the forest, were human, this would be called genocide. For the first time since that terrible day when her mother was killed, Rimba returns to her natural environment. Dia's presence cannot completely alleviate Rimba's fear in this new place, strangely familiar, yet so different. For most, life in the rehabilitation center is a comfortable routine. But the caregivers remain alert for signs of trauma that cannot be easily erased. The youngsters will remain here for several years until they are ready to survive in the wild. But Rimba is almost an adult and must compress years of natural learning and experience into months. Dia, whose ancestors also made the Borneo forest their home, proves to be an excellent teacher. Rimba is assaulted by new smells, tastes and textures. After a lifetime of limited sensory stimulation in cages and being tied up, Rimba is overwhelmed by her first hours in her native forest. She reverts to the neurotic, repetitive habits of captivity. In this respect, orangutan are much like human children. Though the others will stay in the forest until late afternoon, Rimba begs to return early, to the familiarity and security of her cage, where she can digest the day's experiences. Weeks have passed. The forest is now a familiar playground. The other orangutans have become companions and playmates. But Rimba will never be an orangutan until she feels more comfortable in the high canopy than on solid ground. On this day, Rimba for the first time in her life climbs a tree, discovering how well her body is adapted to arboreal life. For Dia, this is a bittersweet moment. She knows now that Rimba can learn to survive in the forest and must soon move on. Months have passed. Rimba and her companions are learning more advanced skills. Today's lesson demonstrates that the cup of the pitcher plant is a good source of fresh water. There is so much to learn, knowledge that can mean the difference between life and death. After years in captivity, Rimba seems to have a drinking problem. But Rimba loves playing with water, one of the few pleasant memories from her years in captivity. She now enjoys teaching her forest friends. Rimba is increasingly at home in the trees. Testing her limits, she occasionally miscalculates, though injuring nothing more than her dignity. Other skills are harder to master. Rimba must learn that the forest can be unforgiving for unskilled canopy dwellers. Now comes a crucial stage in Rimba's training. Orangutan are vulnerable to large predators on the ground and must sleep in the trees. Each afternoon, Rimba must gather enough branches to fashion a nest, comfortable and sturdy enough to support her body weight through the night. Construction skills come naturally to Rimba. Secure in her nest high above the dangers of the forest floor, Rimba feels at ease in her natural environment. Deeper in the forest, Midway House is the second stage of the rehabilitation, where Rimba must now put her survival lessons into practice. Rimba must face the challenges of life in the forest alone, without Dia at her side to lend comfort and support. At Midway, the lessons take on a new urgency. A plastic snake is not a practical joke, but a reminder of the dangers lurking in their natural environment. The forest allows no room for error. A lesson unlearned or forgotten could prove fatal. Now at home in the trees, increasingly mastering the skills needed to survive in the wild, Rimba is poised to claim her rightful heritage. Another year has passed. Rimba is now a fully grown adult. She now begins the final phase of her education, the penultimate step in the long journey home. Dia reappears, carrying a baby whose hand was sliced off by poachers while beheading his mother. Unlike Rimba, this baby will never know the free life in the forest, spending his days in a sanctuary setting under human supervision. The knowledge that Rimba will soon be free does little to ease the pain of parting. During her months with Rimba, Dia tried and failed to maintain the professional dispassion required by her job. Rimba, almost an adult, was special, and a deep friendship grew between teacher and pupil. Rimba's journey upriver will take her to Palace Island, a protected oasis of natural forest in the heart of a ravaged land. Palace is one of the several islands given to the centre by the local community. Protected from both loggers and hunters, the orangutan can forage for themselves while under the supervision of humans who still provide additional food. Rimba's first challenge will be to gain acceptance from the group on Palace Island. At her age, Rimba would normally spend most of her time foraging in solitude. But the island is not large enough for each orangutan to have his own patch of forest. During the 3 to 4 years Rimba will spend on Palace, she must learn the social skills required to live in a community. These skills will prove essential for a free life in the forest. With available habitats shrinking each year, orangutans, when released into the wild, must survive in smaller territories, meaning more frequent interaction with each other. Intelligent and adaptable, Rimba and her fellow orangutans will thrive in their new homes, as long as their human cousins let them live in peace.